Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy brunch. Am I organized here? Let's see. Got to have my name. Is it too far out that way? Is it? I never know where things go. I think I'm supposed to go further over this way. Okay, that makes sense. And then you can come over this way. Perfect. The doctor is in. I've got a green hue from the green screen. Sometimes it leaves a green, sometimes it doesn't. I haven't figured it out yet with the lighting. I got a ton of lighting here. Well, how is everybody in YouTube land? How is everybody? Give me a second to catch up. I will be with everyone in half a sec. Okay, there I go. Ah, Sue Robbins, hello. Oh, Professor Lichtman. Well, Sue Robbins is talking about Professor Lichtman. What I have said to people is that, don't get comfortable. Yes, Lichtman is excellent, but say you're convinced that she's going to win and then you don't go and vote. And that's kind of what happened. A lot of people didn't vote for Hillary because they were convinced that she was going to win. And she did win the popular vote, but she still lost. Lichtman said that Trump would win. But the point is that I don't think that we should rely on prophecy and prediction. We should rely on our own determination and taking responsibility and voting. I think Lichtman is impressive. I think he certainly knows his history. We're answering Sue Robbins. I wasn't saying that I disagreed with Lichtman. What I'm saying is that we must never become complacent as voters. And we have to fight aggressively to make sure that Harris gets elected and do everything we can to make sure she gets elected. And that starts with making sure that we ourselves vote. At the same time, I think it's really cool. The 13 Keys, I certainly watch him and I listen to what he has to say. I think as I said, I think he's a great historian. Yes, he's very accurate, but that doesn't mean you can just lie in your tuchus and not vote. I'm frequently misunderstood and misquoted, and it gets to be frustrated. Someone accused me of being a carnivore recently. I've never been a carnivore. I'm an omnivore, and I tend to do well on a diet that's 80% plant-based, with greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berry, nuts, and seeds being the primary source of my calories, or what are known as the superfoods, and lean animal protein, 20% total caloric intake, and that starts with a fish, which is high in omega-3s, because the research suggests that diets high in omega-3 decrease risk for heart disease when we increase our ratios of omega-3s. If you want to be plant-based, then I recommend chia and flax, broccoli, other foods that are high in omegas. So that is not a carnivore. Carnivore is someone that's closer to 90% of the total caloric intake is coming from animals. Cats will chew on grass, etc., to help with their digestion, but they're suited to a diet like that. Domestic cows can do more plant-based because they evolved to eat human diets because they were domesticated by humans. My cat is attacking something. Yes, she just jumped up and attacked something. How exciting for my cat. So I am an omnivore that keeps an 80-20 diet, though I've been doing more animal protein than normal when I was on vacation, and it tends to mess up my digestion. I also do some dairy, but I think I need to reduce my dairy because I've been consuming too much of it. My big thing when it comes to a diet is that animal fat, you really want to reduce it as much as possible. So if you are doing dairy, be aware that animal fat, any animal fat, is not associated with good health, and that's probably because uh, wild animals are much leaner than current domesticated animals, which are fed at feed houses. Somebody said that recently made the mistake of saying that cows eat grass, and I don't know what I'm talking about. No, they go to feedlots prior to being killed. And in the feedlots, they're given a diet which is supposed to fatten them up and increase their fat percentage. And it contains things like corn and foods that are fattening. Also, methane gas, somebody had gotten that wrong. Cows do release high amounts of methane gas, which is far worse for the ecosystem than CO2, which causes acid in the oceans, methane, and it also takes up large amounts of land, produces methane, and produces risk for disease that can be transferred to humans. E. coli poisoning, for example, which is very bad if you get E. coli. Uh, the feces from cattle can get into the watershed. It takes up large amounts, tracts of land that could be used for other things like growing vegetables, etc. So it's not a very good use of land. The other criticism is that countries like China, which don't produce enough food to feed their population, which is well over 1 billion now, import their meat from the United States. So large tracts of US land is being used to produce meat, which is exported. And that is not a very good use of the land. And it's deleterious to the health of the planet. That's hard science. So, number one, yes, they do eat more than grass, commercial feedlots to fatten them up. Yes, their fat percentage is higher than, say, wild buffalo. Uh, yes, it is a misuse of land management and water resources. Yes, methane is far worse for the environment than CO2 in terms of warming the planet. Um, any other questions about that? I'm happy to show the data. That doesn't mean you have to give up a hamburger, by the way. It just means that you need to know that moderation in all things. L'chaim, l'chaim. So, I mean, I have cow dairy, for example, but for my health and for the health of the planet, I'm trying to reduce my animal consumption to about 20% of total caloric intake. And I think that if we all did that, it would be better for our health. Now, you may be able to drop down to only 10%, which is where um, uh, Joel Furman is at. And I will go ahead and give you a link to his book. You can get it at Thrift Books. It's called Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Furman. He's both a medical doctor and he has a master's in nutrition. And if you'd like to buy his book, which is considered one of the best books out there for, then I would recommend. Oh, they're not allowing me to send it from Thrift Books. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're not letting me send that link. But it's Eat to Live by Joel Furman. Let me see if I can get you an Amazon short link. You don't have to buy it from them, though. Okay. They have a paperback. You can buy used books on Amazon because they do, people who have their own personal, they own their own, used booksellers, right? Oh, thank you, my love. The amazing Debbie Brady is here. So, if you'd like to know what research shows is the best diet for the human body, you can check out Joel Fuhrman, Eat to Live. Now, I am an O positive. I think there is some evidence that O positive does need a little bit more protein than, say, A blood types. So, I increased it to about 20%. Today, I had some turkey, which is lean. And I do try to have a teaspoon of fish oil a day. I get mine from Nordic Naturals, which I find is a good company. And I'm doing 1 teaspoon of omega-3 a day. Now, if you have an autoimmune condition and you have high inflammation, you could increase that. And that has to do with studies that show that people who consume fish 1 to 3 times a week are at much lower risk of having a coronary event. And we know that type A blood type is at higher risk of not surviving a heart attack. People who are O positive tend to have thinner blood, and they tend to be more likely to survive a heart attack, and they tend to be able to need a little bit more protein. There's real evidence for that. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be completely bound to a blood type diet, but if you are A negative, like Joel is, then I would probably put him on Eat to Live by Joel Fuhrman and make him a pescatarian. I don't think Joel would enjoy that, but it probably would be the best diet for Joel. Tonight for dinner, I'm having whole barley, which I'm soaking right now. It's unhulled, and that's because I'm trying to keep my glycemic index low to decrease risk for type 2 diabetes. And I'm going to be cooking that with some navy beans. Yes, so navy beans. So I'm soaking those for about 24 hours together. And then after they're cooked, I'm going to saute those in with some greens and some spices. And I like to saute it till it's dry. I don't like soupy. I don't like beans when it's soupy. I don't like that. So you saute and mince the greens and the other vegetables, and then you can strain the greens. You can strain the beans and stuff and cook it like that, and it's a little bit denser. So A is dominant, O is recessive. So your mother was likely AA. If she had been AO with a recessive O, then like my mother was, then you could come up like as an O. By the way, hi everybody. I'm a doctor, so sometimes it goes back and forth here a little bit. How is everyone? Good to see you. Happy brunch. I guess people want to talk about medicine today, which is cool. I had a couple of other things. Excuse me while I get my notes. We have some remote views, but I'm happy to stay here late today and answer medical questions. We're pretty laid back on Sunday. It's just a brunch. We get together and we talk and we share our meals. And I answer people's basic questions about the remote views. I've done, and I clarify what I do because I'm noticing people get confused quite a bit. Um, just need to make a couple notes about the remote views today. Okay, so back to those questions. Joel, by the way, is our floor director, so please give him love and respect. He's here weekly helping to make sure that your questions are seen and answered. Also, give a special shout out to the unbelievable Debbie Brady. She is a talent manager for YouTube. She works with future rising stars here on YouTube as a talent manager, and she's also a creative director. She does some good work. She helped design most of the visuals you see, and she also oversees the fan pages over at Facebook, and I'm very grateful for her help. Oh my goodness, so many great questions you guys are asking. Ireland was amazing. Thank you, everybody who asked about Ireland. I did kiss the Blarney Stone. And then I was told by an Irish woman that some of the workers periodically piss on the Blarney Stone, so I guess because they don't always like us. They're not always fans of the Americans. So if you go and if you kiss the Blarney Stone, you could be kissing somebody's whatever. So it's completely acceptable, I've been told by people in the know, that if you would like to blow a kiss, blown kisses do count for that reason. So if you go to the Blarney Stone and you just get down under there and you blow a kiss of the Blarney Stone, that is more than acceptable. You don't have to actually put your lips on the Blarney Stone. So that is, yes, the workers sometimes give it a piss, as they say. But here is the beautiful Blarney Castle. It's a load of Blarney. Now, I've actually heard also that it's a type of stone in Ireland. So I guess any stone is a Blarney stone, if you think about it. I don't know. But that is the Blarney right there. Yes, the beautiful Castle Blarney. Some of these castles are really old. They're quite beautiful. It's quite an amazing history when you look at Irish history, and how many people lived there, how many different communities came together to build what is, Ireland today. We had some great Indian food in Ireland. We did not get to try the amazing Arabic food. But, what's nice about that is that when you go to Ireland, you see all these amazing people that have immigrated there that have brought their own unique culture to Ireland. So it's a very diverse population. Here I am kissing the Blarney Stone, and you can see it's a little dirty. So what I did is I took my hand and I kissed my hand, and then I touched the Blarney Stone. I went, and so that way I did not kiss anyone's excrement, as they say. But there I've got the proof for all of you that were worried about me. Did Dr. Whimsy kiss the Blarney Stone? And I want to thank my dear friend Francis for taking that picture. I did, in fact, kiss the Blarney Stone. Now, I also stayed at a haunted house, which is unofficial. We don't want to say that it's officially haunted because they don't want to frighten too many people. But yes, there are rumors that supposedly the Granville, which is the oldest The Granville is considered one of the oldest, I think it is the oldest working hotel in Ireland. And there's been stories of people being tucked in by whoever. They can feel themselves being tucked in. This is a very common story from the Granville. Whether it's true or not, I got a little nervous, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sensitive to energy. But this is how the hallway looks. And yeah, I think it's haunted. There's also a little girl that people have seen, maids that don't want to leave. So at night, when no one was there, I tried to pick up the energy. You can see just how narrow those old hallways are. Supposedly Mozart spent the night there. It was built in the 1700s. It was private, and then it was shut down and then reopened in 1830 something to the public. But yeah, you can feel something is definitely out there. Some of the paintings have been there for hundreds of years. And also they have pictures of people who visited over the years. It's definitely a historical landmark. If you are an empath, I felt something touch me also a couple of times, which kind of freaked me out. But if you're an empath, you definitely will feel something is a little off at the Granville. The food is amazing. I'm convinced that they did not change the menu at the Granville from, say, what it was 100 years ago, which is kind of an interesting thing about the Granville. You're pretty much eating the same food at the Granville that they probably ate 100 years before. And of course, no trip to Ireland would be complete if you don't also take a look at some of the beautiful scenery. And of course, Francis and we got some great pictures of the cows. You can't get fresher dairy than the dairy you get in Ireland, and you can really taste the difference. They're very proud of their dairy there. It's very, very fresh. And the animals are treated a lot better in Ireland. And we noticed that it was leaner. It was much, much leaner animal products, but just different standards than you would get in the United States. Anything else I can share about the trip? I'll show you some of my friend Francis took a lot of nice pictures. Here is where did it go? Oh. Is that it? Yeah. I was pretty gosh darn happy. What can I tell you? But if you're talking about I love these old restaurants. Here is the Granville. I think I'm having fish here. But it was, just gorgeous preservation. The preservation of everything, and I think this is yes, this is the Granville in Waterford. It's in Waterford, which is also where the Waterford crystals are, and fish with white sauce, right? I really think that they kept to the menu that they had 200 years before, which is a pretty amazing thing when you think about it, that you're eating the same thing that maybe Mozart ate, or whoever came there how many hundreds of years before. You're able to taste the same food and sit in the same area with the preservation of a lot of the same architecture. Here's another image of the Granville. If you are a psychic, I think that, just connecting. What I love about the Granville is the idea that the maids loved loved their job so much that after they passed, they still worked at the Granville. That's pretty darn cool that people are still seeing the maids coming and going and tucking. People said that they can sometimes feel somebody tucking them in. I felt something behind me. I thought maybe it was my coat. I got a little freaked out. I also felt something bounce on the bed at one point when we were asleep. Uh, I was a little edgy. I'm not somebody who likes ghost. I'm a little scared of ghost, but I don't know. There's just something crazy about it. Like, it's almost as if, like, look at this lovely woman here. It's almost as if these are people have been there before. Like, how many reincarnations have you been working at the Granville? Like that, just something old time, something ancient, even about the people that were there, as if they had been there before. Look at the amazing artwork also. Some original paintings that were hundreds of years old were also something that we got to see at the Granville. I definitely think it was my favorite place to stay. If you're asking me what I liked in terms of visiting Ireland, I would say Waterford, because it was small and because uh, it had retained a lot of that. It had kept, it had kept the energy so that we didn't lose it didn't lose its original energy. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I'm going to show one more picture just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, where it's has that beautiful. Let me see, is that this it? Yeah. We went shopping, and Waterford is known for antiques and used clothing, which I absolutely love. They gave me an old Christmas time bag. But you see what I mean? It's just, there's just something old. Look at the old flooring. Uh, they really, this is Cober, I think. Cobe, Cobl. Small fishing villages. This is where the last port of the Titanic, where the Titanic set sail, picking up the Irish and sending them off to the New World. And you can see, again, they were able to preserve some of the old woodwork and some of the old design. This is from the time of the Titanic, and you can see the old pots up here. And that just really made me feel that I was in Ireland. Whereas in Dublin, it's very much a little bit more cosmopolitan. So those are my experiences. Perhaps you've been to Waterford or Cobl, Cobl, is that how you pronounce it? The last stop of the Titanic. They did have a Titanic museum. It was amazing. It was absolutely beautiful. And but the best thing of all was coming home to all of you. I mean that. I want to travel before I pass, right? We want to see as much of the world as we can, but I prefer being home. I prefer my own bed. I miss my cat. It's painful to be away from home. It's painful to be away from you, my community, my friends, my work, my patients, my clients. And there's no better feeling than that long plane ride back and having to transfer from Dallas. There's no better feeling than opening the door and my cat is there. It's just like, oh, I don't care where I travel, how beautiful it is. It doesn't feel as good as coming home. So on that note, I will be home for about 5 to 6 months. I don't want to go anywhere. because I just nothing feels as good as being home. Yeah. All right. So tell me a little bit about yourselves. Did you miss me? What you eating? What you drinking? Are you taking good care of yourselves? It looks like we have 247 amazing people here. Did you get a chance to see the debates? Um, oh, so Sandy Delilah says that her brother is going to be voting for the first time at 65. Good for him. Good for him that he is participating. Yes, and the dairy, because they are grass-based and they're eating a more natural diet, you're going to have more omega-3s in your dairy. It's going to be less inflammatory. That's true. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the lab-based meat, which is actually going to be leaner and much safer. There's not going to be E. coli, salmonella. It's just going to be the protein cells, and so less heart disease. And so, as scared as people are of lab-grown meats, the research would suggest it's a heck of a lot safer and better for the planet than what we're doing right now. And I can't wait because I don't like. I feel better having some animal protein, and when they do the lab dairy, fantastic with that as well. Undomesticated cows, yeah, they eat the greens, all that good stuff. I do read a lot of Michael Pollan's research. He has some good stuff out there. I believe he's also an anthropologist out of Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken, though now I think he lives somewhere in the East, New England. But Omnivore's dilemma, eat food, right? So in plain words, have it not be processed stuff. Eat food, not too much, mostly vegetables. Yep. And so 80-20, most people can comfortably do 80-20, which means that if you have a 2,000 calorie diet, you can have comfortably 400 kcal of animal product that is lean. So we're talking about non-fat or low-fat dairy, and we're talking about skinless chicken, skinless turkey, and if you are doing fat, the fatty fish, preferably anchovies, sardines, cod, the smaller fish which have less mercury. Though I love tuna. Mila loves tuna water. So we do treat ourselves probably to too much tuna. Yeah. Tuna's good. I love tuna, but we got to get rid of the mercury, man. Yes, Iceland. I think they get theirs from Ireland. Iceland imports a lot of its stuff from Ireland. So yeah, it's some good stuff. It's some good stuff. I have not gone to Denmark. And I did get to Sweden, and the dairy was incredible. And again, much more humane than the U.S. Yeah. Well, I'm an Anderson. I mean, my father's side is Scottish and English. Uh, there were probably Norse, the Anderson, that brought the Anderson name to. So we can do dairy, but even someone like me that can do dairy, I get acid reflux if I do too much of it. So even somebody who's from families from Northern Europe, there's such a thing as doing too much of it. You still don't want to do more than 400 kcal a day of animal products, which is actually a lot. I mean, if you're looking at if you're looking at a piece of salmon, 4 to 6 ounces of salmon, what is that, 200 and something? And then a glass of milk is 120 string. So it's pretty easy. Most of us can do it. It's not that difficult. All right. So, oh yes, a lot of family. Cork, Waterford, hands down, is the best place in Ireland. Uh, we were watching, Francis and I were kind of prepping for the trip, and we were looking at local tour guides. And there was this one tour guide from Waterford, and she was complaining that everybody goes to Dublin and everyone goes to Cork and everyone does this. And then she said, pardon my French, but she said, oh, for fuck's sake, go to Waterford. Like she was like, just hands down Waterford. If you want Ireland, go to Waterford. For fuck's sake, go to Waterford. And so my friend Francis and I were laughing about that. Like, well, that's quite an endorsement. We'll go to Waterford. And sure enough, it was the best of the trip. But then we were having a cup of coffee, and we were talking about, and the man comes and serves the coffee, and we get to talking politics, and he said, oh, for fuck's sake, vote for Harris. And we burst out laughing, and he said, yeah, it's a colloquial expression. I guess a local expression is, it's a little bit how they, I guess, from that part of the world. But yeah, we hands down, Waterford is the nicest place we were at. You just felt like you were back in time, that they had worked really hard to preserve it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I appreciated that it had been preserved. Now, Galway is very, very beautiful. It has a large Italian community from trade. So if you go there, you could get some amazing spaghetti. And we did have a great time in Galway, eating a ton of delicious Italian food. And yet it was part of the Irish experience, because the Italians, the Catholic community, the Irish and the Italians shared a faith, so when the Italians came to Galway, they brought they were more warmly welcomed than, say, other communities, the Jewish community, etc., because they shared the same religion, which was that they were Roman Catholic, right? So here we are enjoying in beautiful Galway, enjoying some delicious pizza and pasta and Caesar salad and all of that other delicious stuff and that is the Galway experience, because in honor of the many Italian immigrants that helped settle Galway. Yeah, it was delicious, of course, and I ate everything. I had I wasn't a prude. If they served, stuff that I don't bring into my home, I won't. You guys can guess what things those are. But I happily gobbled it all up when I was in Galway or wherever, because that was the local food, and it was fresh and it was clean. And so Francis and I just went for it. Here's some nice fresh olives that were prepared in Galway. This just nice Italian food was really, if you want to experience Galway, you've got to do Italian food. And I just think that's great. Just how long the history is in that area. And, a lot of that had to do with the fishing trade in Galway. The Italian fishing people that came in to Galway, and yeah, you can see I was pretty happy there. But again, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Best Italian food ever you can get in Galway. And proud Italian heritage, and people speaking Italian and waiters speaking Italian who came to work in Galway. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. They had an amazing market too in Galway, which was really nice. We were able to, I think we did some fun shopping. The markets in Galway are quite lovely. And we'll go ahead and show you that as well so that you get a feel of what it's a very famous market. It has been there for, I think, at least 400 years. You can see that nice combination of Irish and Italian. Away with the fairies. There you go. So that's my Galway experience. Okay. Yeah, lots of delicious, delicious food. This is a gift from one of the fans. You folks send me scarves, and I'm trying to do more pink and white to connect with green Tara, white Tara, and Kuan Yin, just so that I can be more gentle and develop more of the traits of divine compassion. So green and pink and white are the colors of Kuan Yin. So that is why I'm in those colors today. All right. So now that we've done that, let's get on with the show. I did want to make sure. See, now I get to do a tax write-off because no. I did want to show you guys Ireland. But trust me, being home is the best. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm getting to a point now where I travel. I like to watch people's YouTube channels and then make the food at home. I'm really getting to that point. I don't enjoy travel as much as I enjoy being home. Yeah. Yeah. Salmon in Galway. Yes, it's good stuff. I know Joel is really good about his genealogy. All right, so let's talk about some remote views. Let's talk about Trump. Let's talk about Donald Trump in the remote views. Let's go ahead and do that. I practice a very specific type of remote viewing, which is based on empathy and compassion, and it comes from the Vajrayana Buddhism or Tantra tradition, Bon tradition. And that is where we try to the best of our ability to encompass and align ourselves with that thing we are attempting to understand, whether it's deity worship, like trying to be more like Kuan Yin, for example. But it also can go into attempting to understand people that we may have strife with. And in layman's terms, this type of remote viewing, if you're talking about teaching it as a secular technique, this type of empathy exercise, it's abbreviated as HCRV. Anybody ever heard that term before, HCRV? We have a few practitioners here on YouTube that practice HCRV. Sheila, she's done very well for herself as an HCRV practitioner, quick technique. Many readers are practicing empathy and they're practicing HCRV, though they would not necessarily call themselves HCRV practitioners. But it's it stands for heart-centered remote viewing. And it's based on a 5-step technique where you attempt to become one and to look outside the world through the lens of the person you're attempting to understand. So I can only tell you how I feel as Donald Trump, and I can talk to you as Donald Trump. Now, there are people who suffer tremendously in childhood and they have what are known as dissociative disorders, right? Multiple personality disorder or dissociative personality, where they take on other identities. We do see an overlap in practitioners of HCRV and multiple personality disorder potential, in the sense that most people who are oracles or most people who do this type of empathy work have had extremely difficult childhoods where they were forced to disassociate. So the ability to disassociate, often in childhood, is something that's associated with HCRV practitioners. If you are asked, why is it so? Buddhist practitioners would tell you it has always been so. It has always been so. An example of that would be the Blind Assassins. The Blind Assassins book, which was written by who wrote The Blind Assassins? Same person who wrote The Handmaidens, Margaret Atwood, was this phenomenon where they would intentionally take orphans, blind them, put them through abuse. I think it was out of Persia, and would turn them into people that were so hypersensitive that they could travel on silent foots in complete darkness, because they could make their way through the dark, and they would assassinate people. Another example of this phenomenon is in Stranger Things. Is that what the name of the show is called? And research, this idea was adopted by the CIA, where the CIA was trying to produce its own blind assassins through the MK Ultra programs, where they were taking foster children and giving them LSD, etc., in order to produce trained assassins, etc. Rather brutal thing to do to children who've had unhappy lives. But this is the history of this type of empathy. They tend to be people who've had difficult lives, people who have the ability to disassociate, and people who have the ability to feel tremendous empathy, even for monsters, right? So, yes. And so most of us cannot have empathy for Trump in our normal ego-centered self. Like, I have a personality that I've constructed, which is called whimsy. She's got plenty of ego. We all know that. God bless her. And that's the character or the personality that I've constructed in the world so that I can communicate with you. But in an altered state, as a remote viewer, I am no longer that person. I'm in a different state. I'm in the altered state of HCRV. And the altered state of HCRV is when I can become one with the target, Donald Trump, and at that point become one with Donald Trump, or basically become Donald Trump. So, hi, 1111. 1111 is a student of HCRV remote viewing, by the way. Welcome. So, as Donald Trump, I can tell you how I feel as Donald Trump. And how I felt as Donald Trump was that my family doesn't care about me, that I've basically been abandoned by everybody, that my own daughter, she just abandoned me. I don't know, it was a lot of reasons. You know, it had to do with the way that her reputation was destroyed during the campaigns. Maybe it had to do with how her mother was buried. But a lot of things happened that caused a rift between me and my daughter Ivanka. And I feel like I did all these favors for all these people and they just abandoned me. So I feel like I feel like I quit in a way. I quiet quit. Nobody wants anything to do with me. My own wife doesn't want anything to do with me. So I'm no longer what I was. I'm no longer what I was. I feel like I quit. So if people ask me how I feel as Donald Trump, I feel like I quit. I feel like I've given up. I feel like I'm just going through the motions. I feel like they beat me down and abandoned me, and that my own family isn't there for me. I feel like the reason I'm like a paid prostitute for the GOP. They're not going to pay me unless I go out and I play the part and go. But I'm tired. I'm burned out. I'm isolated. I'm unappreciated, and I feel like I've given up. I can't totally walk out because the money will. It's I would like them to. I got to get the money. I feel beaten down by the money I owe. I just feel like no one's there for me. This is how I feel as Donald Trump. Nobody's there for me. They all turn their back on me. And so this is why I said as Donald Trump, I quiet quit. I quit. She doesn't want anything to do with me. How will this play itself out going forward? I think it's gonna. I gave up. I feel like I lost already. What's the point? The only reason I'm showing up is because they're paying me. But I don't real. I don't. I'm not. I'm putting the. Quiet quitting is when you do the bare minimum of work you have to do not to get fired. That's how I felt. Now, if we're talking about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is ahead 5 points or more in many swing states. It's going to be at this point if people vote. And that's what I keep saying. Don't get comfortable and say, well, I don't have to vote because everybody else is going to vote for me. I feel that I can't. They threw me a curveball. I felt like they threw me a curveball as Trump. That I don't know how to. I don't know how to debate her. I don't got no material. Now, what I felt with Kamala is I felt that she was Kamala the deity, which comes after Kali, which is we have to first destroy the demon, right? If you're looking at Kali, who is Kali, the deity Kali destroys the demon, right? The demon ego. And the monster ego, right? The narcissist, the repulsive, narcissistic ego that is the monster that Kali must destroy. That ego that prevents us from admitting that we're wrong, even when your behavior is putting other people's lives at risk. So Kali comes to destroy the ego, and it's a very violent, aggressive kind of energy. It's when the divine feminine Shiva has been so exploited. When the female has been so exploited, she goes berserk. It's going berserk. And she ties the demon up and she stomps on him and she cuts his throat. And that's Kali. That's Kaliman, right? And so we come out of the time of Kali. But then Kali is replaced by Kamala. And Kamala is the colors of pink and white. Pink and white and green. These are similar to green Tara. So if we're looking at the deity Kamala, she is known as bringing sweetness to the world again. And her colors are green and pink, right? Compassion. She gives her compassion back to the world. We must first destroy the demon, and then after we destroy the demon, we are filled with the love of this. we see the abundant love that Shiva has for her children, but we have to get past the ego in order to do it. And there is Kamala in all of her beauty, that beautiful pink and green and the white center of and she's in a golden light, a shield of protection. You can see that beautiful aura, and the green and the pink symbols of purity and the pink lotus. So these images are very powerful. These images are very, very powerful. And in fact, we do see with Kamala this same imagery, which I am presenting for you today. And it's time. It's time for us. Yes, we are slaying the dragon with the energy of Kali. We are slaying the ego in ourselves, right? We can only save ourselves first, love ourselves, understand the purpose of the ego and the importance of letting it go so that we can then give birth, so that we can free ourselves of it and open ourselves up to the divine message of Kamala. Because Kamala wants to love us. She wants to love us, but we have to get over ourselves first. And so we are now in the time of Kali, but Kali gives birth to Kamala. They look a lot alike, don't they? You know, what's funny is that Trump thinks she's very beautiful. He can see that beautiful divine spark. She's quite beautiful, like Melania, you know, that beauty that is her, that she's channeling. And that divine feminine that he probably so much craves and needs in his life, which is rather sad, but yeah. So that is why how I function as a sensitive. That is how I function as a remote viewer. Is I try to be that. So I hope that answers questions about why I say that Trump quits. I gave up. I can't pay all these bills. I don't have enough money. I know. I don't care. I'm too tired. I want to go back to the life I had before. Now, some of you asked me about Laura Loomer. Do you guys want to talk about that? We can stay late. I have nothing to do. When's she going to get to the Blitzes? I'm not going anywhere. Just relax. You guys want to talk about these rumors of Laura Loomer. Now, talk about a screwed up, you know, I don't want to speak ill of anybody, but we can certainly go into it. You know, do I think they're having an affair? Is it an affair, or is it just somebody who they're feeding each other's egos? You know, that's the question. Now, there are people that are very insightful, right? There are people that, whether we like them or not, they're quite astute observers of personalities, etc. I don't always agree with Bill Maher. In real life, by the way, Bill Maher is a lot nicer than his public. He would never treat women. You know, he's a lot nicer in real life. That's what I can tell you. But his persona on TV is a little bit raunchy. Not in real life, though. He feels like there's something there. We can certainly check on it. What I feel is that this is a man that's so broken. He is basically his family isn't really there for him. They're there for themselves. If they are advertising or promoting him, it's because they're trying to sell some product. They're trying to sell some kind of digital coin or something like that, or jewelry or something else. he doesn't feel that anyone genuinely cares about him in his own family. And so it could be for that reason and a desire to go back to what his life was before that I feel makes him vulnerable to the attentions of Laura Loomer. And so, yes, it's possible there could be something there because of the vulnerability I feel as Trump, that my own family doesn't care about me. So to have this young girl with a nice body giving me all this attention, it makes me feel I'm vulnerable to her influence. That is what I can say. I am vulnerable to this person's influences. Anybody want to talk about that? Anybody disagree with my remote view or my perception? I know that some of you are HCRV practitioners. Some of you are trained. Kay has some training, cartomancy, mesquite. How many of you have HCRV Debbie Brady has training. You may have gone in and seen something very, very different. And that's completely okay. I don't want people to necessarily agree with me just because it's my opinion, but that is how I felt. No, we're going to do the remote. We'll do the empath prayer when I start to do my blitzes. Yeah, in real life, Bill Maher is a vegan and very gentle, very respectful. He would and very warm and kind when you interact with him. He's not. He certainly wouldn't talk to a doctor, naturopathic doc. So how people act in order to get laughs because they know it's funny to be rude and to be shocking. Partly because they know they're being rude. It's like, who was that guy that he was a comedian in the 80s and 90s? DK, whatever. Also was making fun of jerks by acting like a jerk, but he himself was a really sweet guy, and people thought that he was a jerk. Or Pee Wee Herman. These are just characters. You're not supposed to take it too seriously. Yeah. Oh, you're having a protein shake. Good for you. I've been naughty. I had Life cereal and I'm addicted to it, but you know what? I got to clean up my diet. I can't be eating that stuff every day. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about, Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah. It's not the real Andrew Dice Clay. I served him once as a waitress and he was, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. No, sir. Yes, please. I thought, are you kidding me? Very sweet, very polite. So it's as if he was making fun of those guys. There's something really funny about those types of jerks. Don Rickles, yes, Orthodox Jew, keeps kosher, best friends with the man that recently passed away. I can't remember his name. Bob Newhart. Yeah, so you can't always assume if somebody acts that way. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to get to in terms of a remote view had to do with the war in Ukraine. We had talked about the fact that when I went forward with the energy, I felt as Putin that I wanted to take over. I wanted to spread the Russian faith to the four corners of the earth, and that I was going to be like the next Messiah. I was on a huge power trip. I also felt like I had a drug problem, like amphetamines, methamphetamines, and this had caused me to become a megalomaniac. I felt as Putin that I was being supplied drugs by Prigozhin, that Prigozhin was my drug supplier and he knew my secret. I felt like I had also been injecting speedballs and that this had an impact on my mental health. That what people call Parkinson's could just be the shakes from amphetamines, because you've got all that pent up energy when you're doing a lot of amphetamines, right? And so people think that it's Parkinson's. No, your mesolimbic dopamine system of the brain has been affected, because that's precisely what amphetamines do. So that was the take I had on him. And so he becomes delusional. He begins to think he's going to take over the world. He surrounds himself with sycophants who tell him he's going to do whatever he likes. And so for this reason, I felt like he was going to invade Ukraine, even though I kept telling myself, no, he won't. He was telling us point blank, yes, I will. So that's the point at which the remote viewer needs to stop creating a happy place and starts. You need to listen to what your target is telling you. I did a huge video in 2017 where he talked before any of this happened, where he was very specific about what he intended on doing. And he did that. He did everything he said he was going to do. So we need to listen to our targets, right? I felt in the remote that Poland was going to be the first country to attack Russia. That was part of NATO. So thank you, Joel, for mentioning Poland, because I feel that I am on the verge of striking Russia as Poland. And so if we see anything happening in the future, it's going to be Poland attacking, because I am this close to hitting Putin. And we now have long-range missiles coming from NATO. As I had said, I feel that NATO will march on Moscow. If he is not controlled and contained by his own people, and he continues to be an existential threat to Europe, then they will have no choice but to march on Moscow. And I am feeling like we are a hair's breadth away from Poland striking, getting involved. So that was what I wanted to mention. Last thing had to do with the royals. If I could clarify my feelings about Prince William. Again, I can only tell you who I become when I'm in a remote state. And I felt I can only tell you who I am as William. I drink. Yes, I have been drinking a lot because I'm trapped. I'm trapped and she's trapped. We're both trapped. We gave our lives up for the firm. Judging me, judging her, you have no idea what we sacrificed, how hard we work. That's how I felt as William. I felt my acting out, my anger. I felt like I was justifying it because I'm trapped. Yes, I drink because I'm trapped. She's trapped too. We're both trapped. Do you have any idea what we gave up for the firm? I feel this rage and this anger. And then this rage and anger, I attack my brother, who I felt was not trapped. Come in and tell me how to do this. I resent him and I resent his wife. So that is how I felt as William. Now, if people say that's not true, they've got a great marriage and you're certainly welcome to believe whatever you like. Again, I can only tell you who I am as that person when I am working as a remote viewer. So that's just a summary of everything. Trump quits. He quiet quits. Part of it's health reasons, part of it's depression, being the fact that he can't pay all of his bills. He's just quiet quitting. I just feel this. He's given up. I feel this. He's given up. You may be there, but he's given up. Certainly, like Bill Maher says, it's over. When the thing came out about, it was like McCarthy, when McCarthy started accusing everybody who didn't agree with him of being a communist. That's pretty much where we're at right now with Trump. It's over when he started accusing people of eating cats and dogs, right? So I agree with Bill Maher. It's over, and now it's a case of quiet quitting, where he may be showing up. I also am concerned about his health. Other readers have also felt this kind of constriction in the heart area. Other doctors are now talking about amphetamine use, that his behavior suggests the dilation of the pupils, etc. This is stuff that I taught. I'm just a doctor also, talking about some of the characteristics of somebody who's using amphetamines or muscle relaxants, which can cause slurring of the words. And so you wind up with this bouncing back and forth, amphetamines in the daytime, and downers to get you to sleep. And this yo-yo behavior we sometimes see of Trump, where he's pumped up with the dilated eyes, or he's half asleep and slurring his words, looks like the yo-yo of someone who's doing uppers and downers. You do the downers so you can fall asleep because you have insomnia from the amphetamines. And so it's only recently that doctors have begun to feel safe enough to talk about it. All right, so we're going to go ahead. I also want to make one quick announcement that we do have a book that we will be reading for the end of September to the end of October, and that is the amazing Belle, a novel, and it's been written by Judy and Jamerson. Judy and Jamerson is the author of the amazing Belle, and we look forward to speaking. If you are Judy Jamerson, please reach out to me, whimsyanderson@gmail.com, so we can set up your interview on Taco Tuesdays. It's a pretty easy read. You should be able to get through it relatively quickly. It's only about 250 pages. It's very engrossing and also disturbing, and but a very meaningful book. And I think that we're going to have some interesting conversations about it, about addiction, about loss, about the complexity of a person's of personalities, strength, how we can learn from what we can learn from one another's stories. All of that you can find in Belle by Judy Ann Jamerson. You will like the book, and I think it's going to bring an interesting conversation. Okay, we've done it all. We're going to do the Empaths prayer, and then I would like to give you a collective reading for the week. What messages Spirit wants all of us to have. If you would like to be prayed for, if you or someone you love needs to receive a healing at this time, please let us know the names of the person so that we can include you in our prayers. Geocosmic Valentine is a certified remote viewer. She writes, something is coming up with his health this week, possibly during the weeks of the 19th and the 22nd. She's a trained remote viewer and also an amazing astrologer if you want to check out her channel and her work. Tough week ahead for Trump, absolutely. Full moon eclipse next week, interesting. Oh, Mary Trump has a new book, very nice. Wow. Okay, so again, please let us know. We'll just wait and give you time to share the names of those people you would like us to include in prayers. We'll give it a couple more minutes before we say the Empaths prayer so that we can include those people in our prayers today. James, who's fighting cancer, we want to include that this person, James, receive healing. Prayers for a little girl, Remington. Yes. Please pray for brother-in-law, Dr. Ian David Madison, who is battling a very rare form of thyroid cancer. We include them in our prayers. Great grandniece, absolutely super. Ida, who has heart issues, and husband Victor of diabetes, absolutely. Mark, chicken pox. Oh, I'm sorry. Surgery on Tuesday, Sandy. Yes, included Brother Corey. Also, Kay, we send healing and light. She's going to be doing a second round of chemo. So we send healing to Kay that she receive a perfect healing. Rosanna Greenbow, receive a perfect healing. Evan, mental issues, yes. Prayers for back pain for Susan. Prayers to 11 and everyone he cares for that they heal and receive a perfect healing from the battle of addiction. Jesse, who needs a home, absolutely. Richard and Francis, absolutely. Okay. Cardomancy. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Amen. May all be healed. Amen. All right, let's give you a collective reading. Great to see you all. Thank you for coming. All right, Spirit, what do you need people to know at this time about the coming week? This is a smorgasbord reading. We try to connect to the collective consciousness of everyone. If something doesn't apply to you, it's like a smorgasbord, just pass it down to the next person. Hopefully something in this reading will apply to you at the time you see it. All right. Where you are at this time in your life is this is a time of recognizing that you can have anything you want in life. You can go anywhere you want to go. There's only one thing you need to remember. You cannot do what you want to do in isolation. If you don't have everything you want in life, consider the possibility that part of the reason is because you've been spending too much time in isolation from other people. Sometimes when we become isolated from other people, we're afraid to share our hopes and dreams. But there are people in this world that want you to have your hopes and dreams. There are people in this world that want to support you. They want to know your vision. It's a lot of hard work to get from point A to point B. It's a lot of hard work to write that great novel that you're supposed to be writing, or autobiography, or play that music, or do whatever your goal is, see the world. Whatever your personal goal is in life, it requires collaboration. No human being is an island. Yes, people have hurt you in the past, but this world is filled with enemies and allies. Find your allies. If you want to achieve great things in your life, you must find your allies, people that want to walk your walk with you. The base of your matter at this time that Spirit wants to discuss with you is partnerships. Now is a time that we must seek partnerships. The base of the matter is Two of Wands. The ability to import and export ideas. No human being is an island. It's like jerk chicken, right? We were talking about jerk chicken the other day when crazy stories about Haitians eating cats and dogs, and they so they asked the kids in what is it? What's that place called? Spring. What is it called? Springville. What do you like to eat? And they said, well, we like jerk chicken, right? And I said I had never tried jerk chicken, but so I thought that was pretty funny. They don't eat cats and dogs; they like jerk chicken. So it's pretty funny, right? So what we learned from these experiences that, just when you're preparing something like jerk chicken, which is a Caribbean dish, I take it, right? So the Jamaican diet and the Haitian diet, they share a lot of recipes. Springfield, yes, Springfield. They're not eating cats and dogs. They're eating fish stew and jerk chicken, evidently is popular. Because the Jamaican diet and the Haitian diet we share, right? We share recipes, right? So the Two of Wands is about sharing recipes of jerk chicken recipes, not cats, right? So this is what we learn about trade and exchange of ideas from the Two of Wands. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Or maybe I should, I don't know. Is that it's a global, it's that we share and we all become better because of it, because we share our ideas. And so if you have a vision, part of making it real is finding safe people. Say you want to be a prima ballerina. I know a great prima ballerina died, was it yesterday, the day before? If any of you remember her name, an amazing dancer. But if you want, she had great teachers, and she herself was a teacher of ballet. It requires allies. I want to be a great violinist, right? So I have a teacher who's a great violinist. So we must be vulnerable to people we trust, teachers and mentors and allies, in order to fulfill our dreams in life. Now is a time for you to find your allies. Now is a time for you to find partners. I also want to say that it's quite auspicious because your karma card is the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands is waiting for your ship to come in, and it says your wish has been granted. But your wish has been granted with partnerships. Expand your world. Don't hide yourself away watching a bunch of scary news, thinking that the big bad wolf is outside your door. Most people are good, and there are allies out there that want to help you fulfill your dreams in life. Find your allies, find your partners. Now is the time to go forward. But we can't do it as an island, we must do it as a collective. Where you're at right now is defending the world, defending your place. Spend time with yourself, taking care of yourself, but also defender of the land. Seven of Wands, when you feel like everything is coming at you, but that's not the case. Most people are not out to get you, and most people want us to be happy. Seven of Wands is the great defender of the land. It could be that now is the time that we come together to defend the land. I just ordered one of those pickup sticks for garbage. You can get them, the little things that go like this, and they pick up the trash. I saw those when I was in Japan with my friend Francis, that every day a group of people, just to be friendly, they get out and they pick up trash with a community so that Tokyo looks clean, Sendai looks clean. they take it upon themselves to pick up the trash. Maya Musk put up a picture recently. Oh, I was walking the streets of New York. This is Maya Musk, Elon Musk's mother. And she said, I'm disgusted. Look at all this trash. Who kept complaining about all the trash in New York because of the immigrants did it, right? She herself is an immigrant. And I was thinking about all these lovely, beautiful, eloquent ladies in Tokyo that were picking up the trash. They weren't talking about the dumb American immigrants, right? And this immigrant, and they were just being their beautiful, gracious selves, the Japanese, with one bag and these tweezers, and they were going around the neighborhood and picking up the trash. And when you do that, people want to join you, and then you've got 10 people picking up the trash. Lead by example, pick up the trash. So I decided to do things different than Maya Musk. I said, you know what, Maya, you're right. There is a lot of trash. There's a lot of trash in downtown Portland, Oregon, too. I'm going to go be like the Japanese. I'm going to go around my neighborhood picking up the trash. And maybe I'll meet some nice people that want to join me. Defend your area. Clean up the trash. Protect the land. What is the crossing? Justice comes to you. This is the time of justice. We've talked about that Kali is coming, and Kali brings justice. It can be a harsh time, but we also have to look at our own ego and our own stuff and how we play a part in all of it. I have said that I see civil unrest. I predict civil unrest. I predict riots. I think that we can expect an increase in chaos prior to the election, based on the dreams I've been having, based on the meditations. I think we're going to see an increase in race riots, race baiting, and chaos in the streets, anarchy, people smashing windows, that sort of thing, which was very popular with Trump. Trump benefited from that. The money was traced back to Russia and Iran, and we're going to see more of that, more violence, more trying to create as much chaos prior to the election. So be aware of that. So now is the time of defending the land and justice from all that chaos. We need to go back to things before all the crazy happened. What's above us? Lovers. Lovers is about reaching across the aisle, having conversations with people that don't necessarily agree with you. Like when I took the plane back, I spoke to two people who were from Dallas, and they weren't sure that they were going to vote for Harris. But it was an interesting conversation to try and really see how you look at the world. Devout Catholic. They didn't like Trump and they didn't like Harris. But my job is to really try and hear people and to respect people. I know who I'm voting for. So Lovers is about reaching out and hearing people, listening to people, reaching across the aisle. And again, Two of Cups is what we sit in, trying to just be our best self, do what you need to do to take care of yourself. You know who you're voting for. Keep your house in order. Go towards your dreams. Find allies and people that are going to support you in what you're trying to do. Be frugal at this time. No unnecessary or wasteful spending. It is not good for you or the planet to spend more money than you have. Give yourself an account and a reckoning daily if you can. Burn the midnight oil. Eco-friendly oil. No. But the idea is that the energy that you put out and the energy that comes back, be aware of your energy, what money you're spending, what money you're putting out and what money's coming in, because it's all energy. So a past placement is Four of Pentacles. The frugal life is the good life because it eases the pressure on the planet. It's like we went on vacation and we bought great used clothing when we were we spent a lot of money anyway, mostly on nice hotels like the Granville. But this idea of trying to live as simply as possible and as frugally as possible. Smoother waters lay ahead for you if you follow this. So live simply, right? 80-20, 80% plants, 20% animal products if you're not a vegan. Is just fine for most people and fine for the planet. You know, 6 years of, I read swords as years. That's how I teach it. So it can be a good sign going forward. If you follow the balanced path, you have many good years ahead of you and the dark days behind you. Be the example you want to see in the world. Where you're at right now, the Ace of Pentacles stands in the 7th house. I believe we are going to see a shift in finances in the United States. I think it's very likely that Kamala will be elected, and I think that the gap that we saw in the Great Depression between the rich and the poor, we now see that again. And I think she's going to start heavily working towards taxing the wealthy. And I think more money is going to be in the pockets of most Americans. I think we're going to see an increase in Social Security. I think we're going to see more affordable housing because the inflated rent is now, they're being held accountable. And I think that if you've been paying inflated rent for a couple of years, you're going to be getting a check back from these class action lawsuits by the Justice Department. We're going to get our money back if we've been paying too much rent. 55,000 units just in greater Portland. I know this apartment is one of them. We're going to see a drop in our rent and we're going to get some of our money back. So expect more money in your pocket in the coming years. The opposition at this time, the truth. So many of us are fighting where you don't want to be so closed off, you close out the truth. Because Archangel Raphael, it's also the spies card because it's a card of truth and cutting through the truth. Sometimes we run from the truth if it's unpleasant. So we have to be brave enough to face the truth. Hopes and fears is our own mastery. Remember, if you want to fulfill your purpose in this lifetime, look at it as an opportunity for mastery. Choose what you want to master. Do you want to be the greatest writer, the greatest musician, the greatest artist, the greatest scientist, the greatest freedom fighter, the greatest creative director like Debbie, talent manager extraordinaire, Joel Tilson? Well, you have so many talents. Joel is fighting the good fight. He's a civil rights activist for the veterans. What don't you do? You're a genealogist extraordinaire. You're an amazing cook, a nice guy. I mean, what don't you do, Joel? But we are given the choice of mastery, right? Master yourself. Like Kay is trying to master herself, right? She travels the world, but she's also trying to master her own spirituality, master what's the best diet for her, the most optimism she can have during these trying times. All of that is a challenge of mastery. She's also a musician. What have you chosen to master? Are you committed to your own mastery? And the final outcome for you is too many choices. So if you have too many choices, 7 of Cups, well, I want to be the best folk singer I can be. I want to be the best violinist I can be. I want to be the best remote viewer I can be. I want to be the best naturopathic physician that I can be. I feel like I want to do it all. Then my suggestion to you over the issue of mastery, because I struggle with that, is prioritize. My number one priority is I want to be the best naturopathic doctor that I can be. That is my number one priority. I want to be the best physician to you that I can be. I want that more than anything. That is to be the true master as a doctor. Now, on my side gig, I like being a folk singer, but it's a hobby. Well, it's more than a hobby. I mean, and mantras, etc. It's something I love, but it doesn't rise to the same priority of why I was put on this earth to be a naturopathic doctor who does folk singing and mantras, and I do all of that. Maybe I can incorporate the singing as a way of healing for my patients, right? But what ultimately drives me and drives my mission and drives my mastery is I know that I am a doctor. I know that I am here to be a doctor. So when faced with confusion, understand what is your primary drive. My primary drive is to be a great doctor. If singing to my patient helps my patient, I'll sing. If not singing, well, maybe don't sing, right? Know what the primary drive is of why you are here. Why are you here? What is the prime directive of this incarnation? And then everything else will fall into place. I'm going to do a clarification now for everyone. In terms of money, they say, don't work so hard. 5 of Swords, too much anxiety. Let things go. Keep your life simple. Eat good food, but don't make your life complicated. Don't waste. Don't have more than you need. Fight against the fear of knowledge. Your weapon, what you fight against. 8th house is the thing you have conflict with. Truth and shutting yourself out from the world, right? Be careful again about too much news that drags you down, and then you start to feel like, well, I don't want to have anything to do with any of it, right? So be aware that the 2 of Swords is over the over truth, that sometimes you can become overwhelmed to the point where maybe you don't want to hear. Things become black and white, right? So don't create black and white thinking. For example, if you get on X, it's going to make you too reactionary if you get on Twitter, because it's this black and white crazy, and then you get into that loop. So be aware of that. Hopes and fears over the issue of mastery is your own spiritual development. You know, that your own spiritual development, your own self-care is the way to mastery. Make sure that you are doing your daily spiritual habit, whether it's listening to your mantras. Today I didn't listen to my mantras. So just be aware of that. You want to be consistent in your daily habit, like do your yoga. Make sure that you are consistent in your spiritual practice, because it will strengthen your mastery. The Dalai Lama chants 3.5 hours a day. He said that if he didn't do that, he wouldn't be able to do his work. That blows my mind. He's up at 3:30 doing mantras, right? So I'm not that good, but most of us can put 20 minutes in a day, twice a day, to feed our spiritual selves so that we can go out into the world. And the final outcome for you, again, is to make your health a priority. Archangel Raphael sits with you, particularly over issues of emotional stress, because 7 of Cups can be delusion. It can also be overabundance, like too much to drink or too much sugar. For me, it's too much teetotaling, right? Because I put sugar in my tea. So be aware of that. Make your health a priority. Understand that to truly care for yourself can take hours out of the day. For example, I'm determined to have my home be as clean as possible, which means that I put in about 2, it's just a studio. Well, it's a large studio. But I put in about 2 to 3 hours of cleaning the studio every day. Because every time I clean a little bit more. You do your cursory cleaning, and then you go back and you do deeper and deeper cleaning every time, so that you have a zen to your cleaning, organization and cleaning, right? Yeah, so we want that kind of spirituality to be there as part of our path. Now, in my meditations, I've been told to tell you all about an herb, that there is an herb that we all need to be aware of, that it's going to be significant to us now and in the coming days. And I've been dreaming about this herb, and the herb is milk thistle. And I've been using it a lot in my treatment of patients. And so I wanted to briefly talk about milk thistle. So here is milk thistle as a seed. Silybum marianum is the herb. You can see also I've got my notes here about milk thistle. It is a liver detox herb, and it is used for liver congestion. If you're feeling overheated, if you're feeling temperamental, like from too much coffee, coffee can cause liver congestion. Alcohol can cause liver congestion. Menopause, we see liver congestion. Too many pharmaceuticals can cause liver congestion. And you're feeling edema. If you have edema and varicose veins, it can be because there's too much pressure in the lower body because there's congestion in the liver. So many of us appear to be experiencing liver congestion. So this is a significant plant for many people. Also types of hepatitis, history of alcohol, drug use, hepatitis, anger issues, overheating, congestion from too much coffee and other drugs, pharmaceuticals. The remedy is milk thistle. Now, this is how it is in solid, as seeds. I grind it for people, or I also have it pre-ground. So you can just order online or at any health food restaurant. You can get a tincture of milk thistle. I wouldn't recommend doing it in alcohol. You can do milk thistle capsules. I think the best way to take it is as a tea, and just as one ingredient. You only need to use one ingredient, the milk thistle, but now is a time that we should be doing milk thistle. So Shao Yin and Tai Yin are the two areas in Chinese medicine that it helps. So it helps with cold heart and kidney, lung, spleen, and abdominal conditions, liver stagnation, edema, and the emotions of fear and fatigue. Fear and fatigue. So you can make a tea from it. No, don't bake with it, just a tea. But I want people to start using it. If you feel that you have any of those symptoms, damp, cold, fear and fatigue, edema, anger, rage, burning, if you've been doing too much stimulants, coffee, buildup of fatigue and poor sleep, hot flashes, those sorts of things. But I've been dreaming of the herb. I've been having visions of myself grinding it for my patients. And for whatever reason, yes, any inflammation, yes, because inflammation of the breast, etc., could be because certain types of estrogen are not being broken down by the liver. So yes, but for whatever reason, now is the time Spirit wants us to begin focusing on milk thistle. And it has mother's energy. It has the energy of calming mother. So for that reason, I wanted to talk about milk thistle today. If you need to see me as a doctor, I do telemedicine and I do ship your medicines to you. I make the herbal teas for people. Everyone gets their own unique treatment, or what we call intuitive teas, and then I will ship your remedy to you. The information, you can book me through Booksy. The fastest way to get to see me is through Booksy. And then I send you your intake form. I am a medical intuitive and a naturopath, and I will build your treatment plan. But it is evidently an herb that many of us need at this time. Okay. The tea to help you breathe. Yes. Well, cordyceps mushroom has been found. Cordyceps has been found to increase oxygen in the capillary blood. So we do recommend cordyceps, and I also that's usually blended with reishi, also known as gandoderma. So those are the two mushrooms we associate with increasing breathing. Eucalyptus is also used. In small amounts. It's non-toxic in small amounts, and thyme is also used. You can put these in hot water and use them to breathe. Also, peppermint is used. Now, if your breathing problems are due to allergies, you want to make sure your home is clean. One of the reasons I don't cough anymore is because I've done deep cleaning, and so the cat hair is not what it used to be, and so that took care of naturopathic medicine and removing the hair. I just had too much cat hair in the house, and that was part of what the problem was. So peppermint can help. We also like yerba santa for allergies. Yerba santa is an allergy. Also elderberry, if a person's worried about their immune system. But yerba santa is what is often used, as is nettle for decreasing eosinophils. Oregano doesn't have a great taste in teas, but sometimes you can use these ingredients of oregano, peppermint, thyme, eucalyptus in a pouch and pour boiling water over it, and then put a towel and breathe just to open up your breathing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are some of the herbs that we use to help with breathing. Okay, so whenever you're ready, we will blitz away. I heard about the shots being fired. Trump was not hurt, and it's just some crazy person with a gun. They are out there, and unfortunately, if this is, you would think with this sort of thing happening that the Republicans would be a little bit more understanding about why we want to get these guns off the streets. So Mary Thornberry says that Trump says that he hates Taylor Swift. How will it play out? Well, let's talk about poor Taylor. All she did was say that she was a cat lady, a childless cat lady. Then Elon Musk offered to inseminate her, and that's kind of how he shakes hands with women these days. I guess he offers to inseminate just about anybody who happens to be around. It's an interesting fetish. There are guys that have that fetish, and I suppose he has enough money to afford that fetish. Let's take a look at Trump and Taylor Swift. Thank you all for being here. If you can like and subscribe, I'd be really grateful. I don't know. Oh my God, you guys. She's fine. Taylor is fine. Thank you for your concern. She presents as the Nine of Pentacles, empowered woman, self-confidence. She's feeling great. Travis and her, I did a remote on it. They agreed that they were not going to, he and she were going to come to a final decision after the debate. That was the agreement she had with Travis. She knew she was going to go with Harris, but he wanted to see the debate. And okay, honey, fine. I know I'm right, but I'll let my boyfriend figure it out. Guys are a little slower. That's probably what she thought. I'm just kidding. And then I think the debate sealed it for Travis Kelce. And so they both came out saying that they were going to vote for Harris. But so she's very confident with herself, even if she is a childless cat lady. And her opposition, going to smoother waters, or not being stuck, the ability to go forward. You know, it's a conflict when you have this kind of power and success about what direction do you want to go in life. Her hopes and fears, Trump. She fears Trump. So it's not just that she's opposed to Trump, she fears him. As she has said in previous interviews, I will never forgive myself for remaining silent when he was elected. I should have said something sooner. She's actually said that. She is afraid of him. She is genuinely afraid of Trump. Her final outcome, she feels that he is somebody that threatens the church. She's a Christian, and she feels that he does not represent Christianity, and she feels that he is a threat to the church. The broken man that's dragging you down, keeps you out of the church, poverty, impoverishing the country, out of the church. So it's a real concern about it. It comes from her personal beliefs. I see a child over her, so it's very possible she has a child. I see a girl baby. Her opposition, 3 of Cups. It could be, I don't know what's going on with Kelce. It could be that they break up and he could be with other people or something, but I do see a child over her. Over the issue of Trump, she sees him as kind of like a child, 4 of Cups. And then her final outcome is she seeks justice. I see a child over her. I do see one child, possibly a daughter, in the future for Travis. Good for her. I do see the opposition being other women, and I don't know if that's because she had a past where her partners cheated or something along that lines. It's interesting because that can be an infidelity thing. It can also be a victory card, so it could be fear that Trump wins, which is an interesting way of interpreting it. But she wants justice, which is very interesting. Yeah, her and her mom both are not fans of Trump. So it's interesting that she sees him as bankrupted and spiritually bankrupted. Yeah. Helen Wheels said, please, everybody, make sure to check your voter registration because they are throwing people out. So you want to keep checking to make sure that you are registered. And some people register every year. And if you move, you may want to register. Okay. Taylor Swift has 500 million fans. Is that 500 million? So for that reason, she has definitely influenced a lot of new voters. So that is really good news. Joel says that Trump feels cornered. Yes, energetically, that's exactly how it feels. I feel like I've already lost, and so I've quiet quit. And it doesn't surprise me that he's letting some woman make him feel special because he needs somebody to make him feel special because he doesn't feel like his family loves him anymore. Trump shocked that Kamala shook his hand. Yeah, she is not afraid of him. She's a prosecutor. She's a seasoned prosecutor. And it's an interesting thing. So somebody had joked about Laura Loomer, and let's check on Laura Loomer and see about her future. Is she having a love affair with him? She makes him feel special when his own family doesn't appreciate him. That's how I feel as Trump. I need a little attention. My own family doesn't love me anymore. My daughter wants nothing to do with me. Laura. I see him descending. I see Trump having increasing mental health problems. She brings in more money. So if what she can do is she can fuel these conspiracies, and so people that are vulnerable to these conspiracies are giving money. So Six of Pentacles is money coming, but there's also justice here. So the justice, he owes all this money. She presents as Queen of Cups, who rubs her lamp. So there's a little bit, the dark aspect of the Queen of Cups can be mental delusion. Ten of Swords, he feels completely betrayed by his own. Remember, that's being stabbed in the back. And then the final outcome for Trump is mental delusion or the moon. So he's a little bit out to lunch, lunacy. Over the issue of justice, it's karmic. So I think it's having to pay and pay with the wheel of justice. I think he's financially bankrupted. Over Laura Loomer. The Ace of Swords, he fears. The Ace of Swords is his opposition. Ten of Wands, he doesn't. It's too heavy a load. You know, to win would be too heavy a load. The final outcome for him, Ace of Wands. I do think that he could start another business in the future. That's entrepreneurship. Victory is his opposition, the Ace of Swords, which leads me to think that he doesn't think he'll win the presidency, but he does think he could be starting another business in the future. Ace of Wands, like I said, is a card that has to do with entrepreneurship. This is a guy who's thinking, oh, well, so what if I lose? At the very least, I can use this experience to find more people to sucker into giving me money, selling more t-shirts, selling more golden sneakers, looking for other people to give him money. Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay was making fun of people he was making fun of those guys, but he himself was not that guy. And so I think a lot of people didn't get the joke with Andrew Dice Clay and thought that he was the jerk he was playing. And but people close to him knew that was not who Andrew Dice Clay was. Okay, so Putin wants to attack Poland. Let's take a look. That's the problem. You play a jerk, and then people think you are the jerk, which I guess is the price you pay when you do that kind of racy comedy. Putin wants to attack Poland. Let's take a look. He presents as delusional. He's delusional. His opposition has the dancing in the street. So his opposition wins. His hopes and fears, armistice, Ace of Cups. The tower is coming for Putin. I always feel like his own people are done with him. There he is. He's trying to create a peace treaty. His opposition, they're moving forward. Chariot. They're plowing towards Moscow. His hopes and fears, the Star and the Ace of Cups. He wants to get to ceasefire, but they want him out of Crimea. The final outcome, the tower, we get our wish. I think that if he does not get to ceasefire soon, they will continue to plow forward. You can see his opposition has the Three of Cups, which is dancing in the streets. It's armistice, and Chariot would indicate that they're plowing forward. The Star is over Ace of Cups, which would be a peace treaty, and also here Two of Cups. He gets his wish, possibly, but with a tower, he has no choice but to get to ceasefire. They will be coming. Poland will be attacking if he does not quit soon. Yes, as Maureen D'Amico points out, Hitler himself was addicted to amphetamines, and we see that same thing with Putin. This similar characteristics. You know, you look at the people that support Putin, and they themselves are prescription drug addicts. You know, many of them are on amphetamines, and so he's deluded and they are part of the same delusion. So why are they more vulnerable? Many of them are drug addicts. Many of the people that uh, like him are themselves addicts. As Karen W. points out, many U.S. troops in Poland and Finland, Sweden ready to go. And now we're doing long range NATO missiles that are going to be hitting Moscow. It brings me no joy to be right. I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want him to invade Ukraine, and I didn't want it to get to this point. Uh, it's it's uh, it's not something we enjoy being. I don't enjoy this. No one should be happy about the fact that millions of people are dead on both sides. People are dead, and none of it had to happen. And it makes you realize just how dangerous somebody with a personality disorder that's doing those types of drugs, those types of pharmaceuticals, it can be really, really dangerous. We've already talked about the fact that there were shots fired, but Trump is fine. Also, it looks like Mary Trump has a new book, so that is interesting. And we've included everyone's prayers for everyone to receive a perfect healing who requested prayers today. We were happy to do that. Any other great questions here? Let me just see. Oh, a lot of you all coming from Cork and Cobh. Very nice, where the Titanic, the last place the Titanic was before it. Yeah, terrible. I know, Debbie. Debbie's reminding me that I have to write. I will. I know I have to do it. It's morally wrong not to. You know, the other thing, if you don't fulfill your mission in life, is that it's an ethical issue as far as spirit is concerned. If you were put on this earth to write the HCRV manual, it's morally wrong not to do it, because then you've left other generations to have to pick up the mess and start all over again, right? So understand that writing the book or fulfilling whatever the purpose is a moral responsibility, so that we don't leave the work to someone else. Yeah, pick up the trash around your neighborhood, and you may meet some nice people along the way. Um, I love to sing. Folk singing is great, and I when I was younger, I wanted to be a folk singer. But my passion, my real passion, is being a doctor. So after the doctoring, I focus on the singing. And it'd be nice if you can incorporate it. Like if you do mantras and chanting music, then you can bring healing and higher vibration, higher octave music into the world, and you're still working as a healer. You're just using the vibrations of music. Yeah. Yes, Karen W. Do I find it hard to leave a subject? Yeah, Putin. Putin really, I was really locked in with Putin for about 3, 4 months, and people thought that I was pro Putin. We got a lot of really important information, though, didn't we? We knew what he was up to, when he was doing it, how he was doing it. But eventually, you know, you cut cords, and eventually you get bored. And the problem with Putin was that once he let us know what he wanted, he just wouldn't shut up. It was this obsessive thing where he could not let um, he couldn't let it go, and he just kept repeating himself over and over about trade routes until we got bored. It was like the same thing over. We get it. You want to expand your trade routes, and when they lost the Soviet Union, he lost the profits from the ports, and he wanted Odessa back. He wanted his ports back, and he wanted the money back. And so it just, when everything was out in the open, there was nothing more to talk about, and so it got to be boring. And that was really, he couldn't let it go. And anybody who was with us from 2017 remembers it. Just, we didn't realize how important it was to hear it. We didn't know. We did know because he told us, and now we're in that situation. But there was a reason why we kept being told about trade routes, because that was the level of passion with which he was going to try and take over the United States, Brazil, Venezuela. Remember, I said I saw myself looking towards South America as Putin. I don't know if any of you remember that. It was many years ago. Now we know that he was part of the fall of Venezuela. So it gets annoying to hear him go on and on and on, but now we know why it happened. It's kind of like out in the open now, right? So it served a purpose. It served, even though, can we really help people? I don't know. What could we have done differently other than just deliver the remote? Yeah. All right, everyone. I hope you all had a great time with the extended Sunday brunch. I decided to spend the first 45 minutes just showing you all my vacation. If you're not if anyone watches this in the future, they can just skip the first 45 minutes if they don't want to see me showing pictures of Ireland. But yeah, I thought that would be fun. All right, everyone. Again, thank you so much. Be sure and check out our book of the month, Judy and Jamerson, Belle. She'll be in the studio, hopefully, at the end of October when we have her in. No, it'll be at the end of, the end of October. That's right. Be kind to all, so that all will be kind to you too. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can book me through Booksy, and that includes the telemedicine health consults. And they do, like I said, they do come with your medicine. Your medicine is shipped. All right. Be kind to all, so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Be well, everyone. Bye.